Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro denounced the attacks on the nation's territorial integrity and stated that an investigation is underway to clarify the alleged attack on a Venezuelan vessel in Caribbean waters on September 2nd. In Colombia, President Gustavo Petro declared that his country's military forces will no longer depend on U.S. weapons, consolidating the national sovereignty of the Colombian army. An emergency meeting of Arab and Islamic leaders was held in Doha, Qatar, Monday, to address the deadly attack by the Israeli regime against a delegation of the Palestinian resistance movement Hamas in the territory. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Sophie Fernandez from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Venezuela, President Nicolás Maduro on Monday denounced the attacks on the national territorial integrity and stated that an investigation is underway to clarify the alleged attack on a Venezuelan vessel in Caribbean waters on September 2nd. Maduro held a press conference attended by over 47 media outlets and 170 diplomatic representatives from around the world. The president emphasized that the media must prioritize an ethical commitment to maintain the truth, especially at a time when Venezuela is engaged in an intense struggle to preserve peace as national sovereignty. In this context, President Nicolás Maduro stated that the Venezuelan people are 21st century revolutionaries who find the strength to respond to attacks against independence in their history and their rebellious roots.
Venezuela is in a huge battle for the truth to win peace, to preserve peace. What have we done this week? You saw it. 5 weeks ago, Venezuela was threatened with missile-carrying ships, nuclear submarines to bomb, invade and occupy the country. 5 weeks ago, Nicolás Maduro Moros, constitutional president of Venezuela and revolutionary leader in our America, this very man, young man that you saw there in the high school where he began his journey exactly 50 years ago, was threatened along with several of our comrades. It's a judicial aggression when they criminalize us. It's a political aggression with their daily threatening statements. It's a diplomatic aggression, and it's a military aggression in the process. Venezuela is authorized by international law to respond to this aggression in every way.
In response to accusations by the international press, he's created tensions by calling on the people to undergo military training in the barracks. The Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro said that Venezuela is exercising his legitimate right to prepare for defense.
Venezuela exercises its legitimate right under international law and the Constitution to prepare for the defense of peace. We exercise the legitimate right to defense.
Also in Venezuela, Venezuela's National Bolivarian Armed Forces seized Monday 3,680 kilos of cocaine that had left from a port in La Guajira, Colombia. The announcement was made during a press conference by the Secretary General of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, Diosdado Cabello, who also informed that the successful operation was carried out after receiving intelligence information about the illegal shipment and 20 hours of maritime patrol. The political leader also revealed that during the operation, 4 people were arrested. Cabello also accused the government of the United States for trying to use the excuse of drug trafficking to carry out a military attack against Venezuela.
Ellos saben que Venezuela es uno de los países donde el combate
They
al
know that
narcotráfico
Venezuela is one of the countries where the
todo-
fight
en
against
todos los
drug
frentes. Hoy, en
trafficking
este
is on
momento,
all
en la
fronts.
madrugada, yo no sé si esto ha salido, pero hoy en la madrugada,
Today,
nosotros
at
capturamos
this moment, at
3.600
dawn, we captured
kilos de
3,600 kilos of
Le quitamos a
cocaine.
los
We took
carteles.
it away from the cartels. It
salió
came from the
desde la
Colombian
Guajira colombiana.
Guajira, and our
Nuestra
patrol boats and patrols.
patrulleros nos llegó
We
la
got the
información,
information.
mandamos a
We sent
patrullar
out patrols.
3.000.
I am going to
Te voy a
tell
decir
you
la
the
cantidad
exact
exacta
amount
que
they
pesaron para
weighed.
no
3,680 kilos of cocaine, 3,680 for arrested. We did not bomb the ship. We did not kill anyone. But we captured the drugs and we captured those responsible. It makes a big difference. He who has eyes, let him see, and he who has ears, let him hear.
In this sense, a community in Quiche, Guatemala expressed solidarity with Venezuela on Monday amid the commemorations of the 204th anniversary of Guatemala's independence. After the commemorative event, the community residents claimed the release of imprisoned civilians and expressed their support for all nations facing imperialist aggression. They also stressed that freedom is a constant and global struggle. The rally was surrounded by a wide deployment of the national police and agents of different law enforcement units to ensure the normal development of the activities. Meanwhile, in El Salvador, social sectors took to the streets on the 204th anniversary of the Central American independence, turning the commemorative into a day of struggle to demand their rights. During a mobilization called the Resistance March, organized by civil society, hundreds of Salvadorian citizens demanded the restoration of their rights. Among the demonstrators were members of the movement of dismissed workers, who denounced the dismissal of thousands of employees under irregular circumstances and the arbitrary detention of people for opposing the executive's neoliberal policies. Their leaders emphasized that true independence is still lacking in the country and called for the release of hundreds of political prisoners and prisoners of conscience. And now we have a short break coming. But first, remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Qatar, an emergency meeting of Islam and Arab countries was held in Doha on Monday to address the deadly attacks of the Israeli regime against a delegation of the Palestinian resistance movement Hamas in the territory. The attendees to an emergency summit called the Israeli attack a flagrant violation of national sovereignty and international law. During the closed-door meeting, the foreign ministers of the participating countries issued a draft declaration against the attack, accusing the Israeli regime of threatening regional peace. The draft also mentioned that Israel's ongoing genocide and expansionist policies in the Gaza Strip risk peace and coexistence in the region. During the meeting, the Emir of Qatar, Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, rejected Israel's hostilities attempt towards a negotiation in a ceasefire in Gaza.
That is party to the negotiations and yet aggresses the venue where the negotiations take place. If Israel wishes to assassinate the Hamas leaders, why then engage into negotiations? If you wish to insist on the liberation of hostages, why then do they assassinate all negotiators? How can we host in our country negotiating delegations from Israel, whereas they sent drones and planes for an air raid against our country? There is no need for questions. This is just a cowardly aggression. The second reality that comes to the surface is that those who work consistently to assassinate the party that is in negotiation will certainly do everything to ensure the failure of negotiations. When they claim that they seek the liberation of hostages is a mere lie.
For his part, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian condemned the impunity of Israel's attacks in the region, called for unity against the threats and aggressions.
By Israel against Qatar the week last is constitute an utter violation of the international law, and we must seek means to stand up to these assaults. This act of belligerence was not the spur of the moment. It is the consequence of the provocative policies of the Israeli occupation forces and the impunity they have been enjoying as they continue to go unpenalized for their crimes. By their acts, they have crossed all red lines. All the Arab and Muslim states are required to stand united, standing up to this belligerent Zionist entity.
As the health crisis in the Palestinian territory continues to escalate, the enclave's health minister denounced today that hospital patients are facing a serious crisis due to famine and lack of medical care. The Palestinian Authority warned that the health staff cannot continue to work under the total lack of medicines and essential supplies. The authority also urged the international, regional, and humanitarian actors to put pressure on the Israeli regime to guarantee the entry of humanitarian aid. At the same time, the United Nations Organization for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, denounced the increasing of the Israeli airstrikes in Gaza, leading to the destruction of at least 10 of the organization's buildings. The attacks have also destroyed hospitals, schools, and shelters, pushing Gazans into forced displacement and putting their safety at risk. Meanwhile, in Spain, Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez urged the international community to prevent Israel from participating in sports and competitions while the genocide in Gaza continues. The Spanish Prime Minister questions international permissiveness towards Israel during an interparliamentary meeting in the Congress of Deputies, comparing it to the sanctions imposed on Russia after it launched its special military operation in Ukraine. Sánchez highlighted the association agreement suspension with Israel, a measure backed by the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. These statements come after the incidents in the last stage of the Tour of Spain cycling race in Madrid, where pro-Palestinian protests forced the cancellation. In other news, Belarus denounced Poland and the Baltic states for mining in their border areas with this country and criticized the following Western interests and policies. During an interview to the magazine of the Russian intelligence service, Razvedchik, Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko said that the country violates the Ottawa Treaty, which aims at eliminating anti-personnel landmines around the world. The head of state also said that the move is another attempt to the West to put pressure on his country, and reiterated his government's willingness to have friendly relations with its neighboring countries. The Belarus leader also questioned the need to mine the borders and spend millions in setting up iron walls, when migrants can break through them in just a few minutes. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and also follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Sophie Fernandez. Thank you for watching.